skills wallets, where it's like young people today, like you're gonna be having a stack of skills burning a hole through your pants pocket when the Lib Dems get in power.
To your skills wallet.
I support Joe Swinson because she's helping me grow all my ability trees.
No, apparently what the
charisma.
skills wallet is 10 grand that you get to supplement your education that is given out in different tranches based on different ages. So you get like 3,000 pounds when you turn 18 or something. Then you get 2,000 pounds when you turn 30, or I think. And then
But you can only spend it on like education.
You can only spend it on education, and that's your skills wallet. And you're going to just use it to just rack up skills.
What if you like spend it on like just becoming a better gooner? That's what I would spend it on.
Spend it on Gooner merchandise.
Yeah. What I want to know
supporting bloody Arsenal.
Yeah, I would. I'm an Arsenal fan for life. So if I got a 10K skills wallet, I would probably go to Gooner school.
Gooner
yeah, I know. Being a Gooner doesn't pay what it used to, but it's a family trade. I'm getting my Gooner license. My dad has one. My grandfather sold one of his younger brothers to get his Gooner license.
Oh, well, bloody Gooner for life, mate. Look at the bloody license in me bloody car.
Yeah. I get tears in my eyes when I see Yancey Hornblower hit the pitch on an absolute masterclass. So, yeah, I think I'm going to Gooner school.
I'm spending all my skills buying old Gooner merchandise. Where's Gooner knowledge? I can name the starting team in every squadron going back to 1904.
Why doesn't Joe Swinson make a Gooner wallet?
This is a nice way to start because Virgil told me that we should once again put a last-minute plug-in for the shows we're doing. Me, Amber, Virgil in London and Liverpool next week.
Bush Hall, London, 9th and 10th. Somewhere in Liverpool, a place I don't remember, on the 11th. I will put all the links to this in the show notes.
Everyone who buys a ticket to the show will get a discount on attending Gooner Academy.
Yeah.
And be the best Gooner you could be, mate.
Also, I mean, I know you guys wanted this to be a surprise, but your all-time favorite Gooners are going to be special guests.
Yep.
You've got Carlton Yarborough, Yincy Dunt, Flagris Ham, the all-time, everyone's favorite Gooner coach, Wrangler. Everyone loves Wrangler. Wrangler out. Gooner go. Gooner Academy. Let's go. They're going to be there. They're going to be doing all your favorite things. Those things you love from the soccer pitch where one guy runs like slightly faster than the other and no one scores a goal, but it gets like 78 million retweets for some reason and people are like masterclass, tears in my eyes. That's going to happen. They will be setting up their own footy pitch, and you'll be right footy cunts.
Every show will have a masterclass footy demonstration.
That's right.
For all you Gooners.
Is the coach of the Gooners named Wrangler, or is he just a Gooner Wrangler?
I'm unclear on this. I'm like, of course, like an apprentice Gooner. Once I like...
No, Arsene Wegener, I believe, is the Gooners coach, and they've been trying to get him out for years. They hate him, the fans.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's get him out.
Well, I like him. Okay. I think he's nice.
You like Wrangler?
Yeah.
Wegener.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, Gooner.
Nice.
You guys like that?
Pretty good.
Okay, Gooner.
Pretty good.
Okay, Gooner. Say it to your parents so they can just stare at you and comprehend it.
No, if you want,
say it to everybody you've been saying it to and ruined it, made it mean nothing. The next time somebody tells you that, that they don't have change for 20 at the fucking cash register and you call them a boomer, stop it. Stop using it on everything.
Yeah,
it
doesn't make sense.
I'm actually not going to the UK specifically because I support Man City. And the fact that this is a Gooner tour is just is a bloody shambles to me. I can't. I've got tears in my eyes, but they're of anger. Not because I saw a bloody masterclass on the pitch by our boys, the Arsenals.
Who's your favorite Man City player?
It's just like it's just a dog.
It's
just a dog that they run out on the field.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's no rule that says we can't kill the dog after the game.
All right, let's get going.
Woo.
Enough of this overseas bullshit.
Yeah, no, fuck this shit.
Fuck that country.
USA.
That'll hold the bastards.
You know what's a big conflict right now? You know what's a big scandal du jour? Jeremy Corbyn admitted that he doesn't watch the Queen's speech on Christmas.
Is that a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
And apparently the idea of a person who wants to be prime minister not sitting down every Christmas morning with their shepherd's pie and eel intestine quiche and watch the fucking Queen give her speech.
What does she say? Does she give people presents?
She announces who's been bad and good all year. And she also gives gooning highlights of the year. What are the
She
most,
gives a gooner token to several good boys and girls.
We're going to list the top gooner moments of 2019.
She counts down the top 10 goon fails of the year.
Number 10, when Wiggum striker Nigel Throttlebottom found himself quite exposed against the Gooners at the Hotspur Arena.
Do you notice, like, during the Blitzkrieg, the V2 rocket attacks on London, they avoided hitting Gooner Stadium because even the Germans respected the Gooners.
Yeah, it's because Gooner fans were using shortwave radios to collaborate with the Third Reich.
That's what Man City says. That's actually not true at all.
No Gooners died on 9/11.
Well, I mean, it was also a Gooner holiday, so coincidentally.
No more of that shit country. Let's talk about our shit country.
Yeah, the number one piece of shit country on earth.
Can I? Yeah.
This is good shit because honestly, we recorded our last episode just in time for Kamala to listen to it and drop out of the race. She was waiting for endorsement, didn't get it, had to just give up.
Yep. The K-Hive basically got collectively blackpilled.
Yeah,
they've decided that they will let the world burn. They've all turned into the Joker.
I love seeing like 53-year-old white women from Sherman Oaks, California, just like posting Giles Corey lyrics.
Yeah,
there is no self to kill. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, it's like if the only future is blood and fire, then so be it.
Yeah.
But just because Kamala is gone, it doesn't mean that the presidential race has stopped or things that we seemingly willed into existence will continue to keep happening. Case in point, let's kick things off right now talking a little Crazy Joe's Folly. And this is Crazy Joe's Folly, direct from the mind of Felix Biederman.
Just imagine Dixieland Jazz playing.
Let's just play this clip from a 10th exchange in New Hampton, Iowa.
It's not really tense. Joe absolutely owns this guy.
I got a question I want you to answer. We all know Trump.
Well, this old fuck talks forever. Oh my God.
Yeah, because he's a gifted kid. That's why he's a Warren supporter. Warren is ID politics for gifted kids.
But you, on the other hand, sent your son in the job and work for a gas company.
This guy's older than Biden.
Yeah, he's somehow older and more checked out than Biden.
Yeah.
In order to get access to the public.
Shouldn't you be supporting Jim Webb, man? Why are you a Warren supporter?
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that. No one has proved that.
I see it on the TV.
You see it on the TV. No, I know you do. And by the way, that's why I'm not sedentary. I get up and no, let them go. Let them go. Look, the reason I'm running is because I've been around a long time and I know more than most people know. And I can get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape line, let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take 9 Number two, no one has said my son has done anything wrong, and I did not on any occasion. And no one has ever said it. Not
I
one.
didn't say you were doing anything wrong.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company. Isn't that what you said? Get your words straight, Jack.
This is fucking alpha.
You're on MSNBC.
You don't hear that in MSNBC. You did not hear that at all. What you heard, look, okay, I'm not going to get in an argument with you, man. Well, yeah, you do. But look, Fat. Look, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
You don't have any more backbone than Trump does.
Any other questions?
Cut his mic off. Okay, so as you'll see in that clip, just some pathetic worm tries to call out Joe on being
Hunter.
Joe
Absolute
and Hunter.
beta boy, just a soy cuck.
Yeah,
Beta boy outclassed by alpha male is what that clip should be called.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like this clip, it's hilarious when Joe Biden challenges him to once again challenges another elderly man to do push-ups with him, and then also says literally, he says, "Look, Jack," and then later he screws up and says, "Look, fat."
Yeah.
And
He also,
the guy.
you can't hear it over the overwhelming din of the audience approving. He also challenged him to do an IQ test.
Joe Biden would smash this guy in an IQ test because, okay, what you're seeing there, these Warren supporters are keyboard warriors. They can't stand up to anyone unless they're going, all right, y'all, thread. This guy, I don't really see his face, but going by his voice, I'm going to assume he's 137 years old. He's on Twitter, like his Avi is like Rihanna or some shit, and he's like, every day, like thread. He's very confident on there. But in the real world, where alphas like Joe Biden triumph and keep pools safe, he just falls apart.
I mean, I think this clip does kind of express why Biden is, by polls the most popular candidate. I mean, this is what people.
He's got alpha strength.
I think look for is that it's not so much that he makes sense or his record is good at all. It's just they want another old guy to stand up to the battle.
Exactly, because they have decided that if Trump won, it's because that's what people want. So we need a Democrat version of Trump who could be just as loud and old and erratic and volatile as him.
And also, just call someone like, shut up, fatty.
Yeah.
Shut up, fatty.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
let you talk.
Yeah.
Shut up, dum dum.
They want somebody who could like just steamroll this dude with just alpha, insane old man energy. And nobody else has that except, of course, for Bernie, which is why Bernie is the second choice of many Biden supporters, and why a lot of them will fall to him when Bernie starts winning the early primaries.
I mean, I feel Felix, you've assumed that this cardigan wearing sop is a Warren supporter, which is not too far of a stretch. But again, if he wasn't a beta, he would have taken Joe Biden up immediately on the push-up competition and made him do it
exactly
in front of everyone in those cameras.
Fuck it, let's bust out an IQ test. Let's go on Quora and do contests.
So I mean, like
I
think though with Biden though, like I think Biden probably could bust out some good push-ups. He does. He still looks pretty spry.
Yeah, Jack Palance at the Oscar style.
I mean, yeah, like aside from when his eye isn't shooting blood,
his eye isn't blood red.
he looks pretty good.
That's just cosmetic.
Here though, if you're looking to catch Crazy Joe's folly out, get him to draw a clock on a piece of paper and fill in, like, just get him to draw 6:30 on a clock.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Yeah. Just recite the months of the year backwards. Give that one a try, Joe.
I love it, like, when people ask him, like, okay, what is your experience? Like, what are you going to put into practice with your experience? And he's just like, you got 100 people and they're giving you 99 directions, and you got 80 people going left, 120 going right, and I'm going up. I'm going up. And for my experiment of what I've done, I'm the only guy who's going to go on there in reference to what we have in the Oval Office right now, and in expedience to going forward, man.
Right,
and
on,
it's
brother.
like, yeah, that's whatever you just said, sir.
So that was that's a clip of Biden that I think we can take credit for, Felix specifically.
Yeah, another thing we conjured into existence.
Just chalk that up. Update the Lathe of Heaven spreadsheet for what we've done so far. Let's keep it happening though.
Can I just add something at the end of this Biden segment? I have to say, at the beginning of this season, I was a little wary of Biden's prominence it's for the show. Because I was like, he's been around for a while. He's kind of boring. He doesn't have that many eccentricities to him. He's like straight over home plate. What are we going to really do with him on the show? I have just been delighted with the rich font of material that Biden
Corn
has.
Pop.
Yes,
come on, man.
The silken hairy legs.
Come on, man.
Yes.
Yeah, come on, man. You can't take Jack Frost and take him to Home Depot. What, dude?
Threatening to beat up Donald Trump.
Like if you had
multiple times.
Yeah, if you had in like January 1st, 2019 said, give me a Joe Biden impression, I'd be like, I don't know. He's got nothing. He's got nothing there. At this point, it is so
And
good
let's not
and
forget
so
the
full.
extra bonus, Hunter.
Yes.
We had no idea what was coming in the form of Hunter. Just a perfect gift-wrapped comedy premise.
And, like,
the ultimate political fail-son.
We haven't checked in on Hunter, but like I would say he's easily the coolest character in American politics.
100%.
Like, he's the only cool guy in
The
politics.
story we didn't even talk about. About
him getting fucked up the ass with the dildo at a strip club.
and smoking crack.
And smoking crack.
But guess what the stripper said? The
He was a
dancer
gentleman.
said he was a gentleman
Yeah.
and
A
he
great
tipped
tipper.
well.
He was a gentleman, a great tipper,
He's
and I
a
believe
good dude.
And I believe in the words of one of the women who worked at, I think, the Hustler Club.
Yeah.
He's the ideal customer.
The ideal customer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude,
baller, polite.
Can you
handsome.
imagine? Can you imagine what it's like for a dancer a night that Don Jr. shows up at a strip club?
hell.
Hell, and you know, no tip, bare minimum.
No, he's going up to you,
and he's just tormenting you the entire time.
he's just going up to you with his like fucking like overly minty breath and just breathing in your ear and being like, "Did you assume my gender?"
Yeah.
like
He's like he paid
tipping
for a lap
$0.
dance just so that he could put you in his lap and make you watch Steven Crowder videos on his phone.
Whereas fucking Hunter,
He's so
plays
excited.
rocks.
He's so excited about your career as an ophthalmologist. He thinks you're going to do a great job. You need some money for tuition?
He's like, do you need to go to beautician school in Kiev for some reason? I actually know someone there.
Yeah.
And you're
He
like,
does.
no, but thank you. Like, think about like when we saw, like whenever we've seen Eric be like, it's just, I love the challenge of running a business, and his challenge is just like a bunch of like caretakers are like, Eric, do you like this magazine? And he like claps his hands like a seal.
They're like basically running him through the tests they do for like chimps for them to learn sign language.
Yeah, Eric, you are as smart as Coco. Good work, dude. But Hunter wakes up and it's like,
well, no, I mean, let me correct you there. He hasn't gone to sleep. And,
right, he hasn't gone to sleep.
At least several
the sun
years.
comes
but,
out.
yeah.
The sun comes out, and it's like, he's like, oh yeah, I have like a paternity suit in Alaska. Fuck. And then he's like, I guess I can call this Chinese arms dealer on the way to the airport. There are 3 boots on my car. I could just ride the lawnmower on the interstate. And then I also have to drop off this Ukrainian DNA salesman at the secret airport.
Also, another thing we didn't mention, he was proved to be the father of that kid in Arkansas.
Yes, that's also true.
God damn, Hunter, man, just a font.
He's pro pegging. I mean, come on.
And a real part of me, like the sick part of me that really thought that Trump being the winner would made the most sense for where the country was. Like he was a reflection of us more than this Hillary's absolute fake, repressed milieu. I honestly feel like we as a country have come to the point where we have subconsciously demanding and deserve a Biden-Trump debate.
Yes.
Just 2 absolutely checked out maniacs competing to be the president of the most powerful country in the world, and they're just doing dueling Grandpa Simpson monologues to a nation of rapt attention where half the people watching think one of the jabbering old demented men sounds like a genius, and the other one thinking the other one does.
Yeah. And no vice president debate, by the way, because no one wants to see it. No one wants to see,
no one wants to see Pence,
like Pence versus Stacey Abrams or whatever. That's
or Kamala.
Yeah, crap. They want to see the Suns debate.
Yes. Yes.
Replace the VP debate with a Suns debate.
Eric and Don can go they can be one team.
They can tag up.
They can tag up.
Yeah, 2-on-1.
Tag team
100
against
don't
Hunter.
care.
He's still got an arm behind his back against those two. Just
destroy
losers.
them. He would make them cry.
Oh yeah, no, they would be weeping by the end of it.
Because they couldn't last a minute in Hunter's world. Legitimately.
Do you think it's like you triggered? You triggered?
No,
I've sucked dick for crack, dude. You think you have what it takes to trigger me?
Eric and Don can trade off. They will each enter at full health, but right before Hunter gets on stage, he just fires up a rock, and you can just tell that his health bar just goes into a different color. So you just have to deplete all of that before you can even do damage on him.
He's literally, his every stat 99999. He's like, think about like hunters up there, like Eric and Don are like, we go hunting. Do guns trigger you? And he's like, no, I literally got one like put in my mouth, and then I like kept buying crack. What's up, pussy? Like it's true. It's literally
God,
true.
this is so true.
Like Eric and Dom, like, well, you can't even like ask a girl out anymore without filling out a legal form because of this. And he's just like, I have like 12 illegitimate kids, dog. Like,
I stay fucking.
Yeah, dude, like I have
not had that problem, dude. That might be on you, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't fucking talk to a girl.
I'm engaged to 2 of the makeup girls from this channel right
I
now.
have 6 different women's names tattooed on my body.
Yeah.
I have converted to 3 religions in the past 2 months.
I have the Hebrew and Chinese characteristics for strength tattooed on my back.
The
God
Suns
damn
debate.
it.
The Suns debate would be like the biggest. Like that would change the country because I feel like America. Like there's a part of America that thinks it's Trump, where it's just like subconsciously, like, yeah, I'm a piece of shit, but I say what I mean.
Yeah, right.
But there's also a part of America that's Hunter, where it's just like, yeah, we don't have any like real moral education anymore. Like no one told. Like a lot of people just don't know what it means to be a good person, but they want to be.
That is, you said that the other week, and I was thinking about how fucking true that is with Hunter. It's like he has to drive towards being a good person, but he's never seen an example of it because he's grown up amongst just disgusting DC worms.
Yeah.
The people with no character or morals, like growing up a fucking mob kid or something.
Yeah.
But he wants to be good. He's like Michael Corleone. They keep pulling him back in.
Like Eric and Don Jr. got smacked in the face by his dad for not wearing a suit to a Yankee game.
Yeah.
Hunter got kicked out of the Navy for doing blow.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, Trump is like a perfect avatar of like American id.
Yeah.
So is Hunter though, but it could be like the good, like it could be like a Danny McBride.
Yeah,
universe.
it's like the people. It's like Trump nihilistic. The Trump ethos is just nihilistically embracing excess out of a positive desire to see cruelty done. With Hunter, it's a coping mechanism to deal with the yawning emptiness he feels, the lack of a sense of purpose, and because he doesn't know what that looks like, so he fills it with drugs and sex.
It's like I mean,
you could do worse.
You meet like you,
but it's like it's out of need. Like Trump does it. Like Trump only harasses women and rapes and sex with them because he thinks that's what you're supposed to do, and because it's a power show. Like he has no actual desires for anything. It's just pure cruelty.
Yeah, Hunter, like you meet like a lot of Americans who like they're not like their lives aren't as dramatic as Hunter, but it's like the same idea. They're just bouncing from thing to thing. They're like one week they're like, yeah, I'm a Buddhist now. Another week they just bounce from belief system to way
Wanting
of life.
to join the military is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Like that's searching.
You meet people who like into their 30s.
Pat
They're just going
Tillman.
they're going from phase to phase to phase. But it's like you can tell there's like an actually very good intent in there, but they just don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know how to find any purpose. They don't know how to actually like really help anyone in a lasting way. But it's like it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because I think there are like millions of people like that in the country, and it's an unstated phenomenon in a directionless country.
I honestly feel like you can read between the lines in a lot of the Hunter profiles, and this might just be me, getting too literary with it, but I honestly feel like his whole descent to the bottom, his life of just nihilistic excess, it really got triggered by when he started to have to work in Washington.
Yeah.
Like, this is my job. Like he has quotes where he's like, yeah, I'm here because of my dad, but I got to provide for my family. And he's very explicit about saying, I know that all of these jobs are just influence peddling. I know they don't do anything good for anyone. I know that I'm not doing good. Like a lot of these people in DC, especially the kids, convince themselves that they're actually positively contributing to society.
Ivanka thinks she's helping women.
Yes, she does. She thinks she's saving women. Fucking Wyatt Koch thinks that he's bringing, a new design style to the boardroom in the discotheque. And he thinks that that's valuable. Hunter is purely disillusioned, but this is a fraud, but it's the only thing I know. I don't have talents anywhere else. I don't have the discipline to pursue something else. So fuck it.
Yeah. And it is like, I know, he doesn't have the worst plight in America. He's been very fortunate in life. But it is
insulated from the real cost.
Yeah, no,
of a lot of his.
He's been insulated by consequences far more than like literally pretty much like any other American
But
who would go through
everyone should be insulated from those consequences.
And it is
Exactly.
like, I do think you can extrapolate it to a larger phenomenon of American directionlessness and like a lack of a for lack of a better term, moral education and like
Examples.
people live their entire lives just not knowing how to glean any meaning from what they do, but like just trying their hardest. It's fucking heartbreaking. If you're listening, you know at least like fucking 3 people like this.
Let's move on from Hunter to like another phenomenon embodied by another figure in this presidential race, like the sort of directionless, aimless, person who does wrong but like wishes they could do right. To just basically, I don't know, how do you want to call it? American snakehood. Of
Pure American evil.
Just someone
someone a black hole of ambition.
Just someone who wants to like slither up the flagpole as far as they fucking can go. And of course, I'm talking about Pete Buttigieg. Now that Kamala has been knocked out of the race, again, largely by us.
We did it, fam.
I mean, if you take seriously the people who are most dedicated to her, then yes, Ross,
absolutely,
we 100% can pat ourselves on the back for that.
Yep.
And so we talked Joe. Who, like we said, I truly don't want him to be president. He's, but
absolutely
no,
not.
it would be the last step down the fucking staircase. To
but
hell.
like, despite myself, like as we saw in that clip of him, just saying, "Look, fat, I'll knock your socks
I'll knock
off
your block
right now."
off,
Yeah,
Buster.
exactly. I can't help myself finding like some
charming.
residual charm, or at least
there's a human flight.
he's
flickering
funny
there.
to think and talk about.
There's a human, because he's a person.
Yeah. To the complete opposite that of Pete Buttigieg, someone who I just to ponder him is to just confront
absolute
darkness.
Absolute darkness. He is an Anton Chigurh-ass character.
Yeah, he has talk about no positive qualities.
Yeah.
Like,
no qualities. He's like Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Where it's just like there's he's never had a human thought. Like his thoughts are like on a weird reptilian wavelength that we couldn't even process as like human consciousness.
So I got a bunch of tabs open on Buttigieg right now, and I just want to like go through them and give like a survey of where his campaign is at. Now that Kamala's out of the race, like there is like he's the guy.
He's the guy. He's the golden child
he's
right
what
now.
They've got like. We'll see if he's their golden child. If you're not going to support Biden, like that's who's there. So. I just to begin here. This is just someone covering a stump speech he gave, where he talked about climate change, foreign policy, and his healthcare plan, of which he ties to the idea of freedom, which is again explicitly.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big fan.
That's what the Heritage Foundation does, and this is what he says about his healthcare plan. You're not free if you don't have healthcare.
Correct.
But you should have the freedom to choose whether you want it.
What? What?
She says, you are not free if you don't have health care, but you should have the freedom to choose whether you want it.
Wait a minute. So this is basically pitched towards Christian scientists? Is that the idea? Like people who, I have no use for the devil's medicine. Please don't have my taxes go to a system of national health care.
I mean, this is a libertarian ideology that like people should have the freedom to choose their own adventure into the poorhouse and grave.
But that's insane. I mean, there's a real argument about that when it comes to like Obamacare mandates, right? Because you're telling young people who don't have a lot of money, you're going to have to spend a big chunk of change.
Yeah, no, like the government is going to make you buy a product that you can't afford and can't use.
Exactly. And you probably won't even need it because you are young. You're probably going to be healthy. So it's just money you're spending. This is like, it's part of the taxes you pay, and it'll always be there. And it's by definition affordable because it's part of a progressively marginal tax base. So unless you're a Christian Scientist or something, why would you want to say no thanks? I would rather pay. What would you even pay? It would be a single payer system. What's it going to be? Single payer plus Steve? Like what Steve wants to kick in?
All right, keep that in mind though. Like, okay, this next thing I'm going to read to you now is soul curdling. And it's like, as this goes on, it's going to get worse and worse. So just gird yourself.
Yeah, this is
just
like where you get that.
Steel yourself for what's coming.
This is when you need that the Adam Curtis like ambient drone that gets really in the background gets more and more.
John Carpenter,
The John
Ennio
Carpenter,
Morricone,
the
thing,
drone,
soundtrack,
the horror drone. Ooh.
Dum, dum.
Yeah, you're about to
All right,
confront
so
monumental
this
evil.
is Ryan Grimm dug this up. This is a transcript from a podcast Pete Buttigieg was on in 2014 talking about being mayor of South Bend.
The Real Ass Dude cast. He used to be he was a founding member of the Real Ass Dude cast.
Okay.
The Maltese rattlesnake.
Very good.
All right. Okay, so that was a good laugh. Not prepared to.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to grade myself.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, a drink before the war.
This is Buttigieg talking about being mayor of South Bend, Indiana. We have really tried to position ourselves as what we call a beta city. First of all, you have this incredibly complex and diverse number of stakeholders. You've got 100,000 residents in the case of South Bend, but also external stakeholders, visitors, businesses that we are trying to be in contact with, all of which are trying to take our time and attention. It's a bit like running a corporation that has 100,000 members of the board of directors and an executive committee of 9. That would be the other elected officials here who may or may not want you to succeed. So you have to find common ground and make sure the right things take priority. Everyone starts with who they bring through the door. So I had the benefit of a great experience at McKinsey as a consultant where I was exposed to a lot of different ideas and ways of solving problems. And before that, more academic and government experience. But nothing can really prepare you for a job like this until you get in. So he's describing being the mayor of a city as a corporation with 100,000 stakeholders.
I love those
but
stakeholders.
crucially, an executive committee of 9.
Yes.
So there's 100,000 shareholders in the corporation of South Bend, Indiana, but 9 people are making the decisions for everything.
Yeah, but it's for everyone's benefit, though.
Right.
You get those dividends going, those human dividends.
It's a beta city. I mean, that's... I don't want to say.
I'm sorry, Mayor Pete. More like soy. Oh, Pete. That's pretty soy there, dude.
This is, I mean, it sort of reminds me of the Hillary Clinton Haiti as the petri dish of democracy.
Oh yeah,
type thing.
Yeah, this is like you view human beings from the command of a scientist looking at an ant colony.
Yeah, and this is complete McKinsey mindset shit because it's not like, I mean, the nice thing about municipal politics is like, yeah, obviously you get tons of crooked people and you get tons of people who display the same reasons that like national or state level politics can be totally diseased and awful, the same types of corrupt attitudes and actions. But I think generally like in municipal politics, you do get a lot of people who, yeah, they want to like fix the fucking potholes or like make the schools better. Sometimes like you get a lot of shitty people in that too. But to like have that sort of McKinsey ideology for this really small city in Indiana, where it just, you know, like you see 100,000 fucking bugs and you want to make them carry the logs better, is so horrifying. It's such horrifying shit. And
I mean, this is how he views governance is from the McKinsey mindset of like, like citizens are like just like the stakeholders, and the people in the government is like the board of directors of a company.
It's the full assimilation of politics to capitalism.
Yeah,
like the logic of capitalism and the logic of the market, totally capturing like the symbolic reality of politics. Like people doing the politics are explicitly doing it on the model of the capitalists, like profit seeking and efficiency seeking. Which, when you're talking about a commonwealth, you're shaving into the actual like humans of the thing you're supposed to be governing.
He was born at the wrong time. He should have been one of the Ducata smoking Opus Dei, neoliberal reformist freaks that worked with Franco in Spain. That would be really his vibe.
Oh yeah, he would have done a great job like turning the Costa del Sur or whatever into the tourists.
That would have been so insane.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's time to introduce another character who's actually very important to Mayor Pete's rise to national prominence. I'm speaking, of course, about a person named Liz Smith.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Liz Smith, the gossip columnist. This is Liz spelled L-I-S, Liz Smith. She is a New York City, like a New York State-based political strategist who, up until now, was basically most famous for dating our former governor, Elliot Spitzer.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read from the New York Post about her. It says here, Elliot Spitzer's ex is the quiet hero behind Pete Buttigieg's campaign. A fierce New York City political operative who once dated scandal-scarred former governor Eliot Spitzer is the brains behind presidential hopeful Pete Buttigieg's successful media campaign, according to a report Monday. Liz Smith, who also served as a spokeswoman for Mayor Bill de Blasio and worked on President Barack Obama's re-election campaign, helped spark the media frenzy around the 37-year-old gay Democratic mayor of South Bend, Indiana, according to Politico. She is the quiet hero of his emergence, said David Axelrod, a political consultant who worked with Smith on Obama's 2012 campaign. You've got this hard-nosed New York-style political operative and this friendly Hoosier mayor, he said. It's kind of fascinating to watch. Smith helped get Buttigieg ink and airtime with national political reporters and just about anyone with a microphone, according to the outlet. Working with her, Buttigieg has appeared on BuzzFeed's morning news show, Vice's nightly news show, NBC, and dozens more TV, print, and online publications. I want him on everything, said Smith, who was Buttigieg's communications advisor and all-around aide. Blah, blah, blah. She broke up with Spitzer in 2016 when he confessed that he was being extorted by a $5,000 a night Russian hooker. So that's that. But okay, Liz Smith is sort of like really she's kind of the Pete puppet master here.
Yes.
So a little bit more about Liz Smith. If you are from New York State, you may be familiar with her. It says here she was a spokesperson for de Blasio and worked on Obama's re-election campaign. But if you're from New York State, you will probably be most familiar with her as a spokesperson for something called the IDC, the Independent Democratic Caucus, which is a group of, I think it was like 6 Democrats over 2 different election cycles who chose to caucus with the Republicans in our state legislature, effectively giving the Republicans control of New York State politics for several years, despite the Democrats having a majority in the House. She was their spokesperson and flack for them while they were collaborating with the Republican minority to stop things like a minimum wage raise.
Yeah.
And most importantly, the real beneficiary and real power behind all of this was Andrew Cuomo.
Oh, yeah.
This last election cycle, they were finally, the IDC members were finally lost and kicked out, thank God. Again, against the efforts of Liz Smith to promote, help, and help them run New York State for the Republicans, but also for Andrew Cuomo, our god-awful governor, who wanted the Republicans to run because he agrees with them on things like, raising the minimum wage, healthcare, legalization of drugs, and wants to avoid the responsibility of governing a Democratic coalition.
When he ran for re-election just last year, whenever people said, why didn't you do X, Y, and Z, he said the Republicans wouldn't do it.
The Republicans wouldn't let me.
The Republicans who I put in power wouldn't let me.
It's the perfect excuse for Cuomo, but it's also the template for how every national Democrat is going to govern.
Yep. That's why
That's why they actually don't want full control of a legislature. They would be happy to let it go by the wayside as long as they could be the president or sit in an executive office and just say, we'd really like something like, a public option, but the Republicans just won't let us do it. I support the Green New Deal, but the Republicans, they don't even believe in it. Oh, well.
Phil Murphy ran for governor of New Jersey saying we're going to do a wealth tax for the millionaires in New Jersey, one of the states with the most in the world or in the country.
The richest state in America per capita, I think.
And they get in there and, they've got a Democrat governor and Democratic state legislature. And guys who voted for it when it came up under Christie voted against it now that it could actually pass.
Well, again, so as the Post makes clear, Liz Smith is the person who got Mayor Pete onto a national stage and is probably one of his most powerful, if not the most powerful advisor behind his presidential campaign. And this is a person who, as her job, collaborated with the Republican Party to keep control of the legislature out of the hands of the Democrats through this independent Democratic caucus. Let's learn something else about Liz Smith. You ready for this? Okay,
y'all ready for this?
This is even worse than Mayor Pete's Beta City comments. This is about Liz Smith. Okay. Liz has absolutely no fear, said Jeff Smith, a former Missouri lawmaker who dated Smith for 4 years and considers her one of his closest friends.
That guy, by the way, Jeff Smith, they made a documentary about him when he was a left-wing reforming Democrat running for Congress in Missouri it's called Could Mr. Smith Get to Washington Anymore? And then a few years later, he went to jail for election crimes.
Well, he tried as hard as he could.
He did. He went for it.
Okay, who dated her for 4 years and considers her one of his closest friends. There is nothing too big for her. She doesn't give a fuck. She is the most.
Whoa, can you say that?
She is the most competitive person I have ever known. This includes with her own boss. She is 36, a year younger than Buttigieg, which, quote, thank God, otherwise I would kill myself. Which is to say, Buttigieg may know 7 languages and carry around...
Does not know 7 languages.
And carry around Ulysses. I would bet any amount of money he's never read Ulysses.
Oh, my God.
I mean,
Okay.
no.
Which is to
And
say...
he definitely doesn't know all those fucking languages.
Which is to say, Buttigieg may know 7 languages and carry around Ulysses and sit in with the South Bend Orchestra on piano. But as far as his top 8 is
His
concerned...
chopsticks is amazing.
he is like Pete, like for all the window dressing, he's like what a fucking salesman character.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
There's no amazing skill set or genius.
He knows 20 words in like 6 languages. He can play a few notes on the piano.
He's a classic American fucking fraud.
Yeah,
which is why we love him.
He's a fucking mannequin. His most outstanding ability, his true talent, his true thing that brought him here is like he'll just do anything to anyone. He'll believe anything. He'll fucking say anything to get anywhere.
You know,
that's his true. That's the real thing that gets you to McKinsey. That's the real thing that gets you here.
What you have to ask yourself, like what I just described to her. What is it that Liz Smith sees in Pete Buttigieg to pluck him from basically obscurity
Absolutely.
into now probably one of the leading contenders? To
A guy who will do
president?
fucking anything.
Yes, exactly.
A guy who will do fucking anything. That's perfect for her.
He
She's
is,
the same
But
way.
also,
Political-
crucially, will also collaborate with the right wing. Another factoid about Liz Smith that you may like to know.
No, I just want
At
to
least
say he is,
okay.
about Mayor Pete that he is a political Frank Abagnale.
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
what do you want me to be? I could do enough to convince you that I know more than I actually do about anything.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Just a quick factoid. Again, what she sees in Pete is that soullessness, ambition, but most importantly, someone who will collaborate with the right wing to keep control of this country.
Oh, yeah.
In steady hands of the responsible hands of the Democrats, but essentially be a block on any real progressive or left wing change occurring. To that end, she is very chummy on Twitter with Comfortably Smug. You may remember him as the Twitter account who did a hilarious joke of tweeting out false information during Hurricane Sandy about blackouts, and
that was insane. The fact that
was
he's
pretty
just
cool.
hanging around. Nobody is like, dude, what the fuck?
She's friendly with Comfortably Smug and Donald Trump's ambassador to Germany, Richard Grenell, who is one of the most ghoulish people in Washington.
Real
just like
Dracula.
Like a complete a hawk, a hawk's hawk, and also basically someone who is, I would just say, neo-Nazi adjacent.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
no,
One of those old guys in the Sum of All Fears.
Yes.
But hey, at the end of the day, those R's and D's come off your name.
Yeah.
And you're just people enjoying a cocktail. God,
You're
these
just
people are
kicking back at
fucking
the
sickening.
Winston Churchill Tommy Gun Society.
Yeah.
You know how we've referenced like how there needs to be like an island for like people like Dan Quinn and Demonius X
Yes.
and Brian Pumper. There needs to be like an island of evil for these people.
Yeah, no, the good island
Yeah.
of our heroes.
Our heroes, Demonius X.
And this is the bad island.
Brian
They could-
Pumper, Dan Quinn.
Well, no, those are just people with like fucked up brains.
Well, they're
who,
my
like,
heroes,
Yeah,
but
my
yeah.
heroes, yeah. But like they will corrupt anything they run into. You should honestly keep like seagulls and seals away from them because God knows what they'll subject them to.
I haven't even
But-
finished getting.
Oh, yeah, get
I
the rest of
haven't
that
even finished
quote,
this.
that
Like,
awful
we have to
quote.
stop.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is skin
So listen to this. Buttigieg may know 7 languages and carry around Ulysses and sit in with the South Bend Orchestra on piano. But as far as his top 8 is concerned, it is only because he has an extra year on her. I think I am impressive because I am a violinist and I went to Dartmouth and I speak French and have traveled all over the world. And I don't know. I know a lot about great apes, she says. But there have been a few times when I've been around him when I knew something, a factoid or something he didn't know. And let me tell you, I fucking lord it all over him. Oh, really? You didn't know that? I can't believe you didn't know that. I thought everybody knew that.
This woman is a sentient West Wing box set. This is the most Sorkin-brained person who has ever lived. Do you imagine hanging out with them on the campaign? Just like the most try-hard, sweat-soaked face Sorkening at each other. Just Sorkening so hard, trying to do witty banter and pull out obscure facts and shit. Oh, just like a whole room full of people going, ooh, 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 pick me, pick me.
Oh my God.
Nightmare.
I told you this was going to get dark.
is nightmare.
Yeah.
This is
I'm glad we started like talking about our boy Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter.
I feel good about that.
Reminds,
but,
there's still some good
I'm
folks
sorry,
out
but like,
there.
but we don't live in Hunter's world. It's a Pete Buttigieg.
We really do
world.
live in a
Like,
Pete Buttigieg world,
We're
which is
ruled
a
by
really
people like
depressing.
this.
Yeah.
We're ruled by people like this, just desperate, grasping, fucking like just smarty pants. But like, it's not that they're nerds in front of the class kids and snitches and fucking like little snakes. It's like these people are fucking evil too.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
have, they have not just like emptiness inside them. Like they have demons inside of them.
You could be.
Well, they worship power, which
Yes.
is terrifying.
You could be an annoying nerd, and you can be a tattletale, and you can be all these things, and you can.
Then
still,
you just support Elizabeth Warren.
right, but it's like
Yes.
you're not evil. Like you're annoying, but like you genuinely like you. A lot of people like that. They genuinely want the world to be a better place, even if they think like that's attained through tattling or fucking
Or doing homework better than anyone else.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But like those people are annoying, but it's like, well, whatever. We just like we disagree on some things, but it's like I don't think you're like a malicious force in the world. This is just spiritual darkness and emptiness. This is pure worship of credentials and powers.
Yeah.
This is American evil.
Yeah, no, this is Cormac McCarthy shit. He's Anton Chigurh. He's the judge.
Okay. No, and the question is like who are these people? Like, what do they do? Well, here's the answer. This comes courtesy of the New York Times this week in an article titled "How McKinsey Helped the Trump Administration Carry Out Its Immigration Policies." Newly uncovered documents show the consulting giant helped ICE find detention savings opportunities, including measures the agency's staff sometimes viewed as too harsh. This is by Ian McDougall. This is reporting done with ProPublica as well. So I'm just going to read this here. And again,
Detention savings opportunities.
Mayor Pete, what did he do after being a Rhodes Scholar? He volunteered to be an officer, like a Xerox officer in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
He volunteered in
brigade.
2009 to take part in the war on terrorism so he could do this, so he could run for president.
But he
As
was
soon as he
also
got out of the army,
He went back as a consultant.
he went
Yeah.
back as a consultant with McKinsey.
Yes.
We've talked about McKinsey before, but if you want to talk about like Moloch, like a Moloch statue in which like literal children are thrown into a bonfire
Yep.
in front of it, Moloch is like the modern American version of like Baal worship or
Yeah,
something like
absolutely.
that. Not to
That
get
is
too Alex
McKinsey.
Jones here, but I'm just saying like they
No,
are
McKinsey is like an
like
evil.
they are like a Leviathan like evil
Yeah.
that exists
Yeah.
only to do evil in the
They're
world.
like they're like the nervous system of like global capitalism, like crackling around and keeping things in line.
Yeah, McKinsey is like McKinsey and private equity are like I think even like to even make like a sort of like a liberal reformist like Elizabeth Warren, the baseline should be I will put McKinsey out of business. I
Yes.
will make private equity illegal because
Yes.
these things are demonic.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is demon shit.
Yeah.
and no, again,
I don't fuck with that devil
and
shit.
then, you know, again, Mayor Pete, who is he? He's someone who volunteered and tried as hard as possible to join both, not just the U.S. military, but then an even worse privatized version of that. It's like
Every element of just the fucking global American hegemony.
he tried as hard as possible to do this is precisely so he could run for president now. So I'm just going to read this article. Think about Mayor Pete whenever you think about this. Like McKinsey needs to be hung around his neck now.
Yes.
Everyone who's running against him, like McKinsey needs to be
The way
an
the
issue. And by the way,
capital.
and exactly. And
Because
by the
you can
way,
say like, oh, what? That's too obscure. It's like everybody in America by the end of the 2012 election knew what Bain Capital was, even though private equity is, and that's kind of complicated and it's obscure thing. They made it famous.
and here's the thing.
That is what's infuriating, by the way, about Obama. Because when he really needed to,
He could pull
when
it
it
out.
came down to like the only thing he ever cared about, saving his own ass, he could fire up the bully pulpit. He could make normal people understand why this complex financial institute, why it was evil.
Yep.
He just didn't give a shit any other
No.
time. But when he needed it, he could.
He
do
had
it.
he had the 95 fastball when he needed it.
Here's the thing, though. Like, if you're a Democrat or like you have a vested interest in a Democrat being president, you better do this now
Yeah.
because if some fucking like accident of some fucking disaster, he
Some
gets the
fucking
nomination.
Greg Stilson ass,
You
dead zone
can
ass.
fucking bet Donald Trump will make hay out of this.
I'll
And-
tell you, it's a company, folks. It's called McKinsey.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can
It's
see it
called
happening.
McKinsey and Associates. It's bad news, folks. It's bad.
Even
what are
though-
they doing in there?
even
we don't even know.
Well, the answer is collaborating with his concentration camp
Yeah.
regime. So I'm just going to read this from the New York Times now.
They overbuild us.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I'm going to read it from the New York Times. Okay, so this is Just days after he took office in 2017, President Trump set out to make good on his campaign pledge to halt illegal immigration. In a pair of executive orders, he ordered all legally available resources to be shifted to border detention facilities and called for hiring 10,000 new immigration officers. The logistical challenges were daunting, but as luck would have it, immigration and customs enforcements already had a partner on its payroll, McKinsey & Company, an international consulting firm brought on under the Obama administration to help engineer an organizational transformation in the ICE division charged with deporting migrants who are in the United States unlawfully. ICE quickly redirected McKinsey toward helping the agency figure out how to execute the White House's clampdown on illegal immigration. But the money-saving recommendations the consultants came up with made some career ICE workers uncomfortable. Okay, pause. Pause. Imagine what you'd have to do to make a career fucking bureaucrat in ICE feel disturbed.
You know what they say in their Facebook posts. They have a very high tolerance for grotesquerie.
Okay.
There's no one really there's all types of awful people, awful powerful people you run into in America. There's the hot dog necked cop. There's just the snarling tacked up SWAT officer. There's the brill creamed Fed. But no one's really you really want to talk bodies, you really want to talk damage. No one is more scary than the guy pleasantly grinning in his 3/4 zip up sweater in his Facebook profile picture and LinkedIn. It's this guy. This guy's collected the most bodies in the last fucking 30 years.
So listen to this. They made some career ICE workers uncomfortable. I was career ICE workers. ICE is fucking it was founded
as part of all this thing to make ICE all these institutions just immovable parts of America, constitutionally required institutions.
So he goes, okay, they, meaning McKinsey, proposed cuts in spending on food for migrants as well as on medical care and supervision of detainees, according to interviews with people who worked for the project for both ICE and McKinsey and 1,500 pages of documents obtained from the agency after ProPublica filed a lawsuit under the Freedom of Information Act. McKinsey's team also looked for ways to accelerate the deportation process, provoking worries among some ICE staff members that the recommendations risked short-circuiting due process protections for migrants fighting removal from the United States. The consultants, 3 people who worked on the project said, seemed focused solely on cutting costs on speeding up deportations, actions whose success could be measured in numbers with little acknowledgement of these policies affected thousands of human beings. In what one former official described as heated meetings with McKinsey consultants, staff members questioned whether saving pennies on food and medical care for detainees justified the potential human costs. But the consultant firm's sway at ICE grew to the point that McKinsey staff even ghost-wrote a government contracting document that defined the consulting team's own responsibilities and justified the firm's retention, a contract extension worth $2.2 million. Can they do that? An ICE official wrote to a contracting officer in May 2012. So, again, I would really recommend reading all of this article. That'll just give you a flavor of it. But, I'm sorry, I will not shrink away from making this comparison. This is IG Farben and IBM working for the Nazis. This is McKinsey. What they're doing for ICE now is helping them streamline and rationalize and manage their concentration camp system.
Market-based forces to bear.
And these are the people Mayor Pete worked for. Did Mayor Pete work on this? The thing is, we don't know.
NDA, motherfucker.
We don't know because Mayor Pete has, when asked about this, and again, Mayor Pete is running for president of the United States right now. He's a national public figure, and he is saying that he cannot talk about what he did at McKinsey, what he worked on there, because it's covered by a corporate NDA.
Yep.
If he wanted to, he could break it.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow.
There's only a civil liability. He gets sued. Big deal. You're running for fucking president. Take it on the chin. My God.
So again,
I'm sorry, I can't say anything. I asked them and they said no. Oh darn.
Oh yeah.
Oh darn.
And again, the defense of this is Mayor Pete wasn't involved in any of this. Well, A, you don't know that. B, it's the same fucking company.
And also, we know where he was. He went back to Afghanistan and Iraq for McKinsey, and he says he was doing economic development shit,
in
learning,
safe houses in Iraq.
How to do entrepreneurship in war zones. There's 2 things he was doing. he was either working for the McKinsey Front Company that consults and spews bullshit to corporations, in which case he funneled Reconstruction money that should have gone to building schools to him for like a fucking what is it called? A slideshow?
A deck.
A fucking a PowerPoint presentation. Like, so cut all this. So like he either was funneling money that should have gone to Reconstruction and schools and stuff to a PowerPoint deck that said like entrepreneurship is good. Or if he was working for what McKinsey really does, which is a front for the fucking CIA, he was there on behalf of the CIA doing like Project Phoenix shit in Afghanistan, in Iraq. No way is this good or wholesome.
And like, it's not like, again, Mayor Pete would probably on some level like you to think he was doing like Phoenix program shit, like a Trigger Man.
Badass.
But the answer is no. Like, he was the guys who were giving the lists of names to the fucking death squads and the fucking
the information processing facilities that then sent the orders out. Yeah.
So again, Mayor Pete is hiding behind an NDA covering what he actually did for this blood-soaked nightmare fucking horror show. Again, to quote a corporation is like honestly like not even adequate.
Yeah.
No.
Like, what do they produce?
It's like I said,
it's total parasitic.
It is
parasitic.
McKinsey's the perfect American company right now. If at one point it was Standard Oil or Ford, the perfect company for just the moral rot and what we are now is McKinsey. It's a completely amoral company with nearly 99.9% fucking profit margins that makes nothing. It makes nothing. It makes
ideology.
It makes nothing but going into the already most amoral concerns in the world and going, yeah, you can treat people worse. Actually.
Yeah, it produces like ideological lubrication for all of these mechanisms that have to go into making a global capitalist market.
It's the perfect American export.
Like I said, it's not so much a corporation as it is like, the Pazuzu in our body politic.
Yes.
It is a demon.
It is a demon. Folks, these are demons we're talking about here at McKinsey & Company.
I mean, you can think of it metaphorically or not.
Yeah,
I mean, quite frankly, it doesn't
Could
really make a
there be
difference to me.
reptilians there?
I don't know.
At the board of directors? I don't know.
I mean, think about the type of, I'm putting scare quotes, person you'd have to be to sit in a room with ICE and be like, well, how can we optimize our immigrant concentration camp, like confinement and deportation system, and let's save money by denying people food and medical care?
Because the thing is that our algorithm says that the detainees on average could survive on 1,500 fewer calories a week than you're currently paying for. And that's a 1,500 calorie savings that we could make by just cutting the ration.
So, again, think of this every time you see Pete Buttigieg. I know I do.
Blank.
Yep.
And Liz Smith, what is she up to now? Well, what she's currently doing is accusing supporters of Bernie Sanders of racism against Mayor Pete's black supporters.
Wow.
All 6 of them or whatever.
How fucked up of them. How fucked up.
So this is who these people are.
Yes.
There's no getting around it.
No. It's a hardcore of reptilians, just fully on board, ideologically positioned and dedicated.
What do you like?
A fedayeen, basically, of neoliberalism.
And again, like think about going back to the beginning. What he said about like his healthcare plan is that like you can't have freedom without healthcare, but it's also important to have the freedom not to have freedom if you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Think about what Mayor Pete would do as president. Let's first say if there's like an economic crash while he's president.
Yeah.
Like what do you think? What decisions do you think he would make?
Pete Buttigieg, I believe, would actually institute death panels.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
He would make it real.
What do you think Pete would do if there was like an Occupy type movement? What do you think that would look like?
Just free fire.
Here's some MRAPs covered in spikes for you to ride into the fucking tent city.
Yeah. We should, your job right now, if you're a person who values human life, it's to make sure the extent of Pete's violence in the next 3 years is the most obvious thing he's going to do, which is kill the corgi he bought in 2018 when he loses.
I mean, yes, your mission now is to make everyone understand who Pete Buttigieg is, what he actually represents, not the image that's being sold to you.
Make him an unacceptable choice for those squishy Warren supporters who, when they go away from her, their heart is with Mayor Pete, but they have enough of a sense of like wanting to regard themselves as progressive that there's a bridge they can't cross. And if you make Mayor Pete synonymous with like the worst form of vulture capitalism and imperialism, they will not be able to justify it, and then they'll have to just grudgingly go back to Bernie.
Mayor Pete's supposed to be everything Liz Warren's ever been fighting against.
Yeah.
That's what that's what she's been fighting against.
You know you want to go to Mayor Pete, but he's too bad. If you know he's too bad, you won't be able to even do it. Lie to yourself.
Gotta say it. God bless the K Hive. They probably won't get anything done, but it's like they were like, yo, our thing now, fuck Pete.
Well, they're fuck everybody.
They're fuck everyone.
They're nihilists. They're the black pill now.
Who are they? Who are they in Game of Thrones? They're sort of like a brotherhood without, like, not the brothers without banners.
No, they're like Littlefinger in that, like, that they've been shit on and they're now going to dedicate their entire life to, like, destroying the world.
They're purely nihilists. Well, they could be like the Greyjoys after Euron comes back.
They're absolutely the Greyjoys.
Blow on the horn.
Yeah.
Bring the whole thing down.
Yeah. Oh man. I like how openly spiteful they are. There are very few people like that.
They hate everybody. Now they're like, never Bernie.
Yeah.
Never Warren.
But it's like
I like that they're just saying never anyone.
Yeah.
That's balls.
I respect that because I'm so sick of all these people who would never vote for Bernie being like, I like Bernie.
Yeah.
But the reason
has to support the eventual nominee, whoever it is.
Yeah, you've made
because they're assuming I won't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
You've made me support Deval Patrick. I'm so sick of that shit. No one says what they mean. No one will admit like how many of their actions are driven by pure spite.
Yeah.
And like the K-Hive is like, no, fuck
like,
you.
I got a
fuck
bullet
you.
in this
I hope you
chamber
die.
for every motherfucker who brought down Kamala.
Yeah, it's hilarious that it's for such like a bad candidate who a lot of like
she just ate shit the entire time.
Did you see what Neera said about Kamala? She said that like this is like a tragedy that she's gone, and like I will support whoever the nominee is eventually, but all the people who preemptively had the knives out for her, I will never forget their names.
I've carved them into my forearm.
97% of the Democratic electorate, I guess.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like,
way to threaten black voters.
They get so mad. Like a lot of them got mad at Bernie and the Bernie Bros, which means that they really think that online bullying just works and gets people out of races, which is amazing. I mean, awesome. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, like, does she mean like David Geffen for going with Pete?
Nobody was giving her money and she wasn't getting any polling.
Yeah, no.
They could blame, I guess they argued that there was a media double standard and she didn't get enough coverage.
Kamala could not have gotten better fucking press.
Well, the thing is, that's like, that you could argue that point, even though it's silly.
Yeah.
But everything, like everybody blaming like voters or like America shows its white supremacy again. It's like, no one supported her, including African Americans. It was not any kind of like white supremacist statement. Nobody liked her.
You
can maybe blame the media, but that's it.
Everyone who they assumed would just like fall in line for Kamala was just wrapped in attention listening to Joe tell the corn pop story. Like, sorry man, you were wrong.
You did that to corn pop. Imagine what it'll do to Putin.
Yeah, like it's like again, like these think tanks that like rely on voters being like sort of low information and having to just go with like what personality they like the best. In part because that's just part of how candidates are marketed to us to bring down the onus on what they have to do for us. Yeah. But also in part because it's like how people like Cap and just the armies of consultants sell like unsavory candidates like Biden, like their personality. And wouldn't you know it, like Kamala's weird affect did absolutely. There are tons of voters who probably would never vote for like a black woman. But at the same time, Kamala's weird affect didn't play as well as Joe Biden's recognizable old cooterness.
Just a crazy old coot come down from the mountain with some pelts to sell.
Right.
He sure is lippy over there at the tavern.
Right. Like when Kamala would get up there, it was like, what the fuck type of person are you trying to be? Like when she would go up there and be like, she'd be like, yeah, everyone in my family smokes weed. I'm Jamaican. And it's like, didn't you like used to lock people up?
But the thing she would do that really was just to me very repulsive, and I really do think that it worked on some level to make people not like her, is that she would tell these very obviously set up jokes, and then she would laugh at the punchline.
Yeah,
she would laugh, and she'd be like, around my hood we say, dude got to go.
It was so stunted, and like
it's like, oh, dude, you're posting cringe.
Yeah, and Biden would get up there, like Biden would just like fucking Mr. Bean falling out of a window into a punchline. Like he'd just get up there and he'd like see a woman in a red dress and be like, Oh, well, I guess you should be on the other side of the tree, huh? And people are like, well, yes, we love you, Joe. You're so fucking charming. Just like 60-year-old couples being like, Joe, can you fuck my wife, please?
Well, like we said, that fucking clip of him talking to the guy in Iowa, when he said, I'll challenge you to a push-up contest, you can't hear the rest because they all started cheering.
Yeah. Like your aunts and uncles,
love
like
that
everything. It's like a frequency only dogs hear, because you hear Joe Biden up there going, yeah, like we're trying to get the Southeast Asians to wear parkas in the winter. It's not uncool to be warm. Like you say shit like that, and you're like, what? Like I don't like this is racist, but I don't know like in what way. Like what the fuck, dude? But your aunts and uncles are like, this is like what we need.
Yeah, no, they're hearing some like eloquent, fucking Gettysburg Address shit. It's like, but only they can hear it. To the rest of it, he's just jabbering on,
just saying like insane shit. But yeah, I think like the brain over 50 is just like.
Yep. Well, I mean, like to the argument that she didn't get a fair shake from the media because like she ran her entire campaign trying to make big media moments that all fizzled out, with the exception of maybe like that one moment with Biden and the school busing during
that
like,
girl
one of the very early.
Was me.
Yeah, one of the very early debates. That was about it. I mean, I know this is very easy and predictable for us to say, but like there is not a single candidate who's been more dogged by the media than Bernard Sanders.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
like they just
it's
pretend he doesn't exist, and you
which is
pulled out
just-
today.
that's
He's
terrible.
leading California.
Yes,
that means he wins.
The LA Times covers that by saying like Biden and Warren struggle for second place.
Yep,
in
and Bloomberg
California.
isn't able to put it in.
Yeah.
Who's first? Yeah. That's
it must be
so.
Pete.
Yeah, and,
exactly.
And Booker's still on the thing. Yeah, but who's first? Yeah, and Castro's got a couple.
Paragraph
right,
7.
Who's what? I can't. Who is it? I can't. It's smudged.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, like these are polls, whatever. Like Bernie's up by 4 points in California. I mean,
He's been.
They hold.
The
He
thing
wins.
is, he is
He
not
fucking
only
wins.
The thing is, he has been super solid in California even before this. He's been like leading or tied in polls basically for months now in California. And in addition to that, everyone agrees that he has by far the best state organization of any of the campaigns in California, which means if he goes in there having won the first, the 3 of the first 4, I think he will win it. And if he wins California and like does similarly well on Super Tuesday,
I mean, another perfect example. Apparently,
cha-ching.
earlier this week, PBS Newsnight. On there, again, like PBS is supposed to be like the most like down the line,
Oh, absolutely.
like, objective, boring news program.
We are
you
not
can
like
get.
a bunch of hysterical
Did
DNC minis.
like a
like
roundup.
MSNBC.
Great show.
Did a roundup of all of the candidates and updated you on their campaign, and they did bits on like fucking Michael Bennett
He's
and
still
like
hanging around.
and Castro, and they did everyone except for Bernie Sanders. They did not tell their viewers. Again, it's not like they were like being like, "Oh, he sucks," or like, "There's no way he's going to win Iowa or New Hampshire." They just simply did not cover his candidacy or like
they
where
learned
his
from Trump.
campaign is at.
They didn't want Trump either, but they were fascinated by him, and they realized you got to starve it.
All right,
There's
well,
no amount of attention that won't help him.
Well, this is the last thing for today, though. Like going back to the idea of like, like I'll support whoever the nominee is. This comes courtesy of the god Chris Cillizza.
Oh God!
We love Chris
Alpha.
Yeah,
Chris is like, dude. Again, you're over there. You're making the Wojak rage face, and you're like Chris Cillizza just came out with an article that's like the appetizer primary. Oh, I bet Amy Klobuchar would be celery sticks because you don't know why they're there, but after you eat your wings, you're glad you have them.
Oh my god! I can see it like a diamond in my brain.
Ooh, that's bad stuff.
And CNN's like, great work, Chris. Here's $7 million. And you're over there like, and he's like, I guess some people didn't have their coffee yet today. Like, he's alpha. He's chasing a bag. He's in his bag.
This is the god Chris
Yes.
in CNN politics. The point with Chris Cillizza. Headline: Hillary Clinton absolutely destroyed Bernie Sanders in her Howard Stern interview.
Hell yes.
She also destroyed Artie. Like, those two hate each other.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was fucked up to like bring up his like nose and shit.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
She's savage. She's
Yeah,
savage.
yeah.
What, did you snort the whole thing off, Artie?
So this is Chris Cillizza. I go. out of office and seemingly unlikely to ever run for any public office again.
Unless she answers my prayers.
Hillary Clinton is throwing off her decades-long guardedness to offer her raw opinions about,
She's wearing the red jacket.
Voters are really wild these days.
What if Mr. T were a Republican? And in an interview with Howard Stern Wednesday for a new book she co-wrote with her daughter, Chelsea, Clinton absolutely drops the hammer on none other than Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Okay, keep in mind, this is how he bigs up this. Like, Hillary Clinton, like, gloves off. She's on Stern. She's just going to, like, this is like, she is throwing all caution to the wind. She's like, I never have to run for running. I'm giving you the real shit.
The real shit.
It's okay. Asked by Stern whether she hated Sanders for the long primary campaign he ran against her in 2016 and the slowness with which he offered his eventual endorsement, Clinton said, I don't hate anyone.
Yeah, lie.
Okay, yeah.
I don't hate anybody.
Absolute lie.
Before adding about the time it took Sanders to endorse her, he could have. He hurt me. There's no doubt about it. Then she delivered the dagger. And I hope he doesn't do it again to whoever gets the nomination. Once is enough. Woof.
Damn, Chris, this is the craziest interview I've ever heard.
Okay, he says Clinton's comments to Stern about Sanders are remarkable put downs with multiple layers.
This is like he's not bullshitting. Like he's a pure simpleton.
Yes.
So like when he sees stuff like that, he's like to him.
He's like, boom shakalaka, the backboard is broken.
That since Elvis Costello was interviewed at a Holiday Inn in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, this is like for a pure simpleton like this is so exciting. Even though this is just like she said all this shit before.
She said all this shit before.
Yeah.
She said this right after the 2016
Yeah, like no one
election.
really cared about this. Like even people who want to talk about this shit all day, like they didn't really care because it's just a retread. But Crystal is like, so that happened.
Yeah, so it's
like a little kid when their parents swear.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, with remarkable put downs with multiple layers. First,
multiple layers.
So many layers.
Stupid. He's so
This is
stupid.
a Pinchonian put down.
This is like why you can't get mad at Crystal is because he's
that's why he
fucking
rules.
dullard. He owns.
She owns, yeah. First, she blames, at least in part, her loss in the 2016 election to President Donald Trump on Sanders' slow roll of an endorsement of her candidacy and the lack of unity that signaled. Clinton made similar allegations against Sanders in her 2017 memoir. Okay, so this is all already literally published in a book.
I'm literally mentioning like 5 other times this happened.
Can you guys remind me, when did he endorse her? Like June?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When would they have wanted him to endorse?
The answer
April?
is he endorsed her a lot sooner than she endorsed Obama in
that's the
2008.
Yeah, and he didn't bring up that she could be assassinated.
Yeah.
But
She
what
did
is it?
with
Like
Obama.
like a 6-week difference between
Basically,
the theoretical
they said
possible?
that he should have endorsed her as soon as she was mathematically cinched to be the nominee. And he didn't. He waited like a month or so. And they said that's basically why she lost. And then, of course, the fact that he campaigned for her more than anyone in the actual
And by the
election.
way, in 2016, in
that
the
was pretty
campaign,
gross.
her people at the high up of her campaign were literally saying, we don't really care. We don't really need Bernie. Because they assumed they had it all locked up.
Oh, yeah.
So they were
no,
like,
look
sure.
at the algorithm.
Yeah. So check this out. A look at the timeline shows that it took about a month from the time Sanders ended his candidacy to the time he endorsed Clinton, blah, blah, blah. The real trolling by Clinton, however...
Epic La Troll
Yeah.
face. She's such a classic troll.
The real trolling by Clinton, however, comes not in her partial blaming of Sanders for her loss, because, as I noted above, she's done that before, but in her prediction for Sanders' chances in this race. Let's remember what Clinton said again, and I hope he doesn't do it again to whoever gets the nomination. Once is enough. Implied, and not in very subtly, in that comment, is that Sanders isn't going to be the Democratic nominee.
Yeah,
in
we get it, Chris.
Yeah, it's like what? Like, I could. Yeah, you needed to point that fucking out.
Read these. You may enjoy these other articles by Chris Lizzett. Did you guys realize that the logo for Target is a bullseye?
It goes. Given this, which is a somewhat bold prediction, given that Sanders is second in the national polling among the top 4 in Iowa, New Hampshire, and beyond.
Hell yeah.
To be clear, Sanders isn't the current frontrunner. That's former Vice President Joe Biden still, but he's absolutely in the mix, making Clinton's seeming certainty that he won't be the nominee newsworthy. Again, he's sort of like implying, like, well, what does Clinton know that we don't about what the
She
DNC
knows
is
that
going to do?
Bernie has a particularly weak hyoid bone.
Yeah.
Let's just say, I think Bernie's been in his feelings and has been very depressed lately.
Don't forget, if you're feeling like you want to self-harm, don't forget to reach out.
By the way, the Daily Mail reported today that both Bill and Hillary Clinton, from the year they left office, went every single year, spent a week at a cowboy village on Jeffrey Epstein's sex ranch.
That's correct. The one in New Mexico that has not been raided by the FBI to this day.
Oh, that's weird.
And
Must
yeah,
be
it's kinda
paperwork
odd.
and
error.
was like a major node in his human trafficking network.
Oh, yeah. It's got like
This is
connections to like this weird futurist outfit or the transhumanist outfit called the Santa Fe Institute.
Yeah, no, this is where he had meetings with probably I don't know, again, I'm going to just pull the name out of the hat, Steven Pinker and like that leading lights of Harvard, where he just like gets them all in a room. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here today to talk about one thing: freezing my dick and balls and putting my brain in hibernation so I can seed the human race with my DNA for up to 1 million years in the future. Very good, Jeffrey. Cool.
That is the great thing.
There might be clones under that fucking property.
That is the great thing with him, is that he was like, in addition to everything else, really fucking dumb.
Yes, he is. An
Like
idiot.
he's like, yo, I'm gonna bring all the scientists to my house and see if they can make me immortal.
Put 100 smart guys in a room to figure out if I'll live forever. They're going to do it.
No, but I mean, again, since they left the White House, at least every year, with Chelsea too, they brought their daughter.
Yes. Well, Ghislaine's best friend.
Yeah, to stay at
Guest at her wedding.
At the cowboy village that is part of Jeffrey Epstein's sex ranch
Yes.
in New Mexico.
Yeah, weird how that worked out.
Okay, again, what does she know about this election that we don't? That
Yeah.
she can say that with such confidence. I don't know.
Interesting.
So then it goes here. Then there's the warning to Sanders that when he does lose again, as Clinton is sure he will, that he had better not repeat the slow walk endorsement he gave her, because he already cost the party a chance at beating Trump once, which is heavy stuff. Even before Clinton's latest comments about Sanders, there was very little love lost between the two politicians, and even more so between their supporters. What Clinton said Wednesday, however, will rip the scab off from 2016. So there you go. That's Chris, the point, Saliza.
I just like to
He got to
say
the damn point.
that Bernie slow rolling the endorsement is what got him the ability to reform the DNC rules. That's what got his foot in the door to get people like
Get the superdelegates
Nikki Const to rewrite the rules, which got the superdelegates out of the first ballot, which is honestly the only way Bernie has a chance to win this fucking thing. So it was certainly he didn't do it for no reason.
Yeah,
he did it for a fucking tactical, strategic reason.
Well, Crystal, like,
And the idea that it
again,
mattered is absurd.
right? The idea, like, Crystal is and I guess like maybe I don't know, probably not. Hillary's smarter than this, but Crystal is he is so fucking stupid that he thinks like everyone wants to be president because it's the top dog position in the world, and not like, oh, he would keep running to like institute some of his rules, his concessions of the DNC, and use the weight of his supporters to like get things on the platform. He's just like, when it comes to Washington, D.C., there's one top dog. there's one big enchilada, and his name is the POTUS of the United States, and everyone wants to be him or her. You never know. Thank you, Chris.
I guess like, just my capstone to this is like Hillary Clinton on Stern. I mean, I haven't listened to Stern in a long
It's
time.
depressing,
but
man.
It's fucking depressing.
Howard's
like,
old, dude.
Howard, like,
He's
I
been
mean,
so
she's like, I
cool.
mean, I guess like fine, like asking her about Bernie or whatever, fine. Howard, ask her about Ed Buck too. Come on, man. Like, I mean,
Ask
like
her
the whole,
about Epstein.
like the whole, or about Epstein. Like the whole thing with Howard is he's one of the few people in, why he
Ask
was
her
king
to
of all
ride the
media
Sibian.
is because he's one of the few people who can get a guest like Hillary Clinton without a pre-interview.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
like there's some chance that like
Some
you can,
spontaneous,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Like get them off off their balance, knock
Yeah.
them off balance. So yeah, where's the question about Ed Buck or Jeffrey Epstein?
He's basically just like fucking Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
He's just totally fucking neutered.
That's so depressing, man. That's depressing that I mean, I guess you stay in long enough.
I mean, Crazy Alice or King of All Blacks didn't even call in to yell at her. I mean,
Dude, what do you think Jackie the Joke Man would have asked her about it? Probably. Reverend Bob Levy interrogating her. What is? Yeah, the entire whack pack comes back together. It's like Watchmen.
well, keep in mind, like
Half of them
probably
are dead.
three-quarters of the original Whack Pack are dead now.
All right.
So
True.
R.I.P. Beetlejuice.
R.I.P.
well, yeah. So I think that wraps it up for this week. Again, UK.
Right, mate.
Matt, you're leaving tomorrow.
Get down to the ticket lorry to get some chip shop.
Matt's
tickets.
leaving tomorrow, and I'm leaving for Los Angeles tomorrow. So
Everybody's
here. I will never stop defending this city.
please check the episode description for links to those
Tickets still
UK
available.
tickets, and yes,
secret guests, fun times for everyone.
secret guests, and best of all, you guys are going to help Jezza win,
We're gonna do it, mates. We're gonna be absolute legends.
and just
We'll be Gooners for life.
just Gooners for life, Gooner Tour 2019.
We can be Gooners just for one day. A while ago, my sister came out with an experimental nonfiction book, The Walmart Book of the Dead. It's terrific. It's the only book I've ever read. But at the Hip Unplugged stage reading series in the Gainesville area in Florida, her book is being performed. So if you're in Gainesville, stop doing what you're doing, which is, riding a crocodile to work. Driving an ATV through a cement wall, just eating cans, the stuff you usually do. Worshiping at XXX Tentacion's tomb to bring him back as a ghost. Stop doing all that stuff for one day. You can do it before or after the show, and check it out. We'll put the link in the episode description.
All right, and then let's the outro music. Someone based on the last show we did. This is Ben Blippenstein on Twitter has created a little song based on our most recent show that is a mashup. He sold it as a ditty that both Matt and Felix can listen to together and everyone can enjoy. It is a brilliant mashup of Crazy Town's Butterfly and Camptown Races by the great Stephen Foster. So please enjoy that. I know I have. It's a goddamn bop. All right, bye.
Bye.
Camptown ladies sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. The Camptown race start 5 miles long, oh doo-dah day. I come down here with my hat caved in, doo-dah, doo-dah. I go back home with a bucket full of tin, oh doo-dah day. Want to run all night, want to run all day. I'll bet my money on a bobtail bank, somebody bet on the bay. The Camptown ladies sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. The Camptown race start 5 miles